Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and ahead of Spider-Man Far From Home, director Jon Watts revealed that one missing Easter egg still remains undiscovered in the previous film, Spider-Man Homecoming, a hidden reference to that malicious mallard, Howard the Duck. We here at New Rockstars are never ones to turn down a challenge, which we have to assume this was. Watts was totally cutting a promo, calling us out, brother! And to follow my relentless searches for James Gunn's missing Easter eggs in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and our beloved investigation of the Skrull imposter in the MCU, here, join me as I rewatch Spider-Man Homecoming and reveal where Howard the Duck is hiding in this special Spidey Duck Hunt. Hashtag Spidey Duck Hunt. Okay, let's begin by reviewing Watts' words exactly.
It's like almost so obscure that I don't even know if anyone could ever find it, but there's a Howard the Duck reference. It's a very small Easter egg hidden in tall grass.
But one thing to note is that Watts gives a cautious look over to Mr. Kevin Feige after he reveals this. And then when other cast members like Gyllenhaal and Tom Holland ask where it is, Watts goes mysteriously silent. Sam Jackson, sitting in the front row, teases, always reasons to go back, probably while thinking about that last time he trusted someone and he lost an eye. And then the interviewer suspiciously cuts off the interview. What the hell's going on? His duck hunt just got real. It's also important to note that Watts said the Easter egg was a reference to Howard the Duck, as opposed to Howard the Duck himself making a little cameo, which makes this Easter egg a lot harder to find, because you can't just attune your eyes to white and orange blurs. Also, Watts is more obsessed than most Marvel directors when it comes to littering his movies with codes on walls and surfaces as Easter egg references to comics. A few of them have already emerged in trailers for Far From Home. But when it comes to Homecoming, I caught most of them in my first breakdown of the movie 2 years ago. Go check that out, make fun of how baby-faced I was. But in this rewatch of Homecoming, here are the new things I found. So early in the film, when Peter is watching YouTube videos of himself during class, this video was uploaded by an account called Rocket Robinson 67. And that's actually a real YouTube channel that you can go find. It has a few Spider-Man Homecoming related videos on it. One of them is the full version of the Midtown School News, hosted by Betty Brant, Jason Iannello, with hilariously bad Tim and Eric style graphics. And when you watch these news segments in the movie, there's a lot of fun stuff. Like later, one of the screens behind Jason shows Vision, a nod to a rival school in the New York area, Brooklyn Vision Academy, the high school that Miles Morales goes to. There's actually a lot of nods in Homecoming to Miles from the Ultimate Comics existing in the MCU. Also, this YouTube page's recommended videos include a bunch from a channel called Waverly Flams, which is the channel of director Jon Watts' short film group from NYU, Waverly Films. And several of their old shorts are featured on this page, including Floating Head, Lost in the City, Rainy Day, and Bird Town, which at first I thought could be the Howard the Duck reference, like a nod to the Duck World run of the comics, but it's not the reference. I'm pretty sure it's something else, so let's move on. Okay, a few more new interesting details emerge as you rewatch, like there's the name Bagley in wall graffiti at one point, which I'm pretty sure is a nod to Mark Bagley, the comic book artist who worked on a number of Spider-Man issues. There are also quite a few Asgard references in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's a Korean church of Asgard, and the Asgardians comes up as the name of a team that the Midtown Tigers play against. They're mentioned in the news segment video as well. And later, after Iron Man rescues Peter and takes him to a playground to dry off, there's one of those spring rider things in the shape of a duck. It's hard to make out its face, but it could be Howard's. But that is still not the reference that I found. Now, others online have said that Peter's classmate Charles wears a Howard the Duck shirt in the hotel as they sneak off to the pool. But after going through that shot frame by Flirkin' frame a ton of times, while the text font and color looks similar to the Howard the Duck cover titles, Charles' shirt, I'm pretty sure, says Road Trip. Now, I thought there was a good chance something Howard related could have been tucked into all the damage control storage that litters this movie. Inside the truck Peter gets trapped in, there are all kinds of odds and ends. I thought I saw something perhaps organic and feathery looking at one point, or maybe what looked like some white feathers poking out of the cage at another point, and I was just ready to give up. But then I remembered how detail obsessed Jon Watts is specifically about license plates. Like in the Far From Home footage that we've seen so far, there are license plates that point to Spider-Man issue numbers for Sandman, Molten Man, and Hydro Man. And I remembered how in Homecoming, the plate of Aaron Davis's car star is UCSM01, which is a nod to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 1, the debut of Miles Morales. So I gave Homecoming another pass, and yeah, some more details start to show up in license plate numbers. When swinging around the suburbs, Peter briefly moves the car-covered tarp over a plate, but if you pause it, you can see it reads ASM267, perhaps for Amazing Spider-Man issue 267, in which Spider-Man has to chase down the commuter to his hideout, similar to the chase Peter is in the middle of in this sequence. But even more references show up on the ferry sequence in the middle of the film. One plate reads SM20563, which could be for Spider-Man issue 5, released in 1963, which is Spider-Man's first run-in with Dr. Doom, but visible in another shot, SM1920, which could be for Spider-Man issues 19, when Spider-Man faces off against Sandman, and issue 20, when he fights the Scorpion, which is one of the characters he's fighting in this scene, with Michael Mando playing Matt Gargan, the Scorpion seen from his neck tattoo. But then, if you turn a bit to the left, I think we found the nest, folks. A license plate reads what looks like HTD003, which I'm guessing refers to Howard the Duck issue 3, in which Howard watches a kung fu movie, expresses frustration at how movie violence is causing kids to try to replicate it, which is the exact kind of caution that Peter expresses in this fight scene, asking the arms dealers if he's being too rough on them. Issue 3 is also when Howard the Duck masters the martial art of quack fu. It's a very major step in the character's life journey. Now, I will admit that the Howard the Duck Easter egg that Watts is referring to might be something else entirely. So I want you guys to rewatch Homecoming and let me know the results of your #SpideyDuck hunt. And what do you make of Watts' suspicious tone around this reveal? Like, do you think Feige and Marvel Studios have any secret plans in store for Howard the Duck? Was his little cameo in Avengers Endgame setting up something greater? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Erik Voss, and subscribe to New Rockstars for Marvel rewatches and hunts of all kind, for ducks, for Skrulls, for Rocket's daddy, and if you ask real nicely, for your daddy who went out for cigarettes and never came back. He's gotta be out there somewhere.